Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Narayanam Namaskritya Naram Chaiva Narottamam Devim Saraswatim Vyasam Tato Jayam Udiriyet Shavtam Swakatha Krishna Punya Shamana Kirtanaha Hridayantasto Hya Bhadrani Vidhu Note Surhasatam Nashtaprayasha Bhadreshu Nityam Bhagavata Sevaya Bhagavate Uttam Shloke Bhaktir Bhavati Naishtiki. Hare Krishna. So today we will be covering Srimad Bhagavatam 8th canto, chapter 2nd. So we cover a whole chapter on Sundays. So last week we covered, Parikshit Maharaj's desire to hear about the Manus. And there we also covered the 4 Manus that appeared before in this Kalpa. So in this particular day of Lord Brahma. And there are actually 14 Manus during the one single day of Lord Brahma. So that's their ruling time frame. So again, I did some research. Sometimes it's been referred to as their lifespan, sometimes referred to as their ruling time span. So, Swayambhuva Manu was the first Manu. We covered Manu Samhita was provided by him. And also we covered an analogy of different type of cars that are there relating to busy fools, lazy fools, busy intelligent and lazy intelligent. And who remembers who's the best among the 4 classes? Lazy intelligent, yes. So we'll be actually going further down on that path to look at this particular chapter. And the chapter is titled Srimad Bhagavatam, 8th canto, chapter 2, The Elephant Gajendra's Crisis. And as is the custom, we'll cover the very first verse. Sheshaka Uvacha Asid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti Vishrutaha Shiro Dinavtaha Sriman Yojana Yutam Uchritaha Sheshaka Uvacha Asid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti Vishrutaha Shirodinavratah Shriman Yojana Yutam Uchritaha Sheshaka Uvacha Asid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti Vishrutaha Shirodinavratah Shriman Yojana Yutam Uchritaha Sheshaka Vacha Ashid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti Vishrutaha Shirodinavratah Shriman Yojana Yutam Uchritaha Sheshaka Uvacha Asid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti Vishrutaha Shirodinavratah Shriman Yojana Yutam Uchritaha Sheshaka Uvacha Asid Girivaro Rajams Trikuta iti vishrutaha kshirodinavrataha Shriman yojanayutam uchritaha. Shri Shukaha Uvacha. Shri Shukdev Goswami said, Asit, there was, Girivaraha, a very big mountain. Rajan, O king, Trikutaha, Trikuta, iti, thus, Vishrutaha, celebrated, Kshira Udena, by the ocean of milk, Avrataha, surrounded, Shriman, very beautiful, Yojana, a measure of 80 miles. 8 miles, sorry. Ayutam, 10,000. Uchritaha, very high. Translation by His Divine Grace, S.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Shukdev Goswami said, My dear king, there is a very large mountain called Trikuta. It is 10,000 yojanas, 80,000 miles high. Being surrounded by the ocean of milk, it is very beautifully situated. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnana Timrandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Mukham Karoti Vachalam Pangum Langhayate Girim Yat Kripatadaham Vande Shri Gurum Dinataranam. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So there is a very nice description, Trikuta, of Trikuta mountain, which is surrounded by ocean of milk. Yes. So again, Srila Prabhupada explains that there's at many places ocean of milk, ocean of oil, ocean of, so many different kind of liquid states, they're surrounded. And this is ocean of milk. Tri means three. Kuta, who knows the meaning of Kuta? Peaks, mountain peaks. So it has three great mountain peaks. And Shukdev Goswami says one mountain peak is of iron, another one of silver, and third one of gold. Now there is a pattern where Shukdev Goswami similarly narrated the three airplanes built by, spacecraft built by Mayadanav. He said he built three Tripurari, that's why Lord Shiva is called, because he destroyed those three planes. And he said one plane was made of iron, second was of silver, and third one was gold. So it's like, they were highly, what's identifying is that they were very rich, very attractive, and very strong. Iron shows the strength, right? It's very strong. Silver shows the glistering as well as gold. They are very, glistening and rare metals. So these mountains, the peaks of Trikuta, means the three peaks, they were very strong and very beautifully built. So they were very attractive to the eyes. And imagine, means Everest is what, like 8,000 something meters? So this is 5 miles, while this one is 80,000 miles. There is no comparison. So this is definitely not being talked of, this earthly planet. It's a heavenly planet. And in that heavenly planet, this Trikuta mountain is there. And what's the width and length? The surrounding? The width and length of this mountain is also 80,000 miles each. So you can imagine how gigantic this mountain is and how many wonderful places. Now there is a one word being used, celebrated. So it's a celebrated, but who's celebrating it, right? If something is celebrated, then there has to be someone doing the celebrations. So it is being celebrated by the denizens of heaven, Apsaras, Gandharvas, and so many. And in this place means all wonderful, trees, beautiful birds, they are all, like wandering freely. And in that place, Varundev, the demigod of the sea, of the waters, he has built a beautiful garden at Ritumat. Now we know that from the description itself, if it's Varuna Dev, he has all the pearls and all the minerals. So if he's building something, it has to be out of this world, right? So he has built a beautiful garden called Ritumat. And in this Trikuta mountain ranges, there is Gajendra, king of the elephants. Gaja is, elephants, and then Indra is the king. So this king of the elephants is wandering freely. And this is not a general elephant like in our material world we see. This is a gigantic elephant, very powerful. And very, unlike, animal instincts, because in heavenly planets, just like humans have higher consciousness, even the animals, they have higher consciousness. So he was a very pious person, a pious living entity. Gajendra, he would wander with his associates and his wives and his, children freely all over the place. And all the ferocious animals like foxes and jackals and wolves, they were very much afraid of him. Why? Because he would stop them from killing unnecessarily. Of course, should not deny one's natural food, but unnecessary killing should be stopped in case of animal kingdom also. So he was living very nicely, and the small animals like rabbits, squirrels and others, they liked him very much. Because of his protection, because of his presence, they could wander freely. And they were thus enriching the whole beauty of the place. Because if you see, there is a garden. Not much is happening in the garden, versus you see many squirrels running and then many rabbits running all over the place. Suddenly the beauty increases. So everything was so beautiful. And Ritumat, this particular garden, there was a pond. And it's very nicely, elaborately described in Srimad Bhagavatam how this pond had golden lotuses. And when Apsaras, the denizens of heaven, Gandharvas, Apsaras, when they would take bath, from the body of Apsaras, the fragrance would go in the water. So even the water would become fragrant. And when the wind would blow, the breeze would carry, the aroma of the lotus flowers, the fragrance of the water, and make the whole atmosphere amazing. So much amazing that if someone was to come to this place, Ritumat, and take bath, or drink the water, just by being at this place, they would feel intoxicated. Now it's very interesting, the word intoxication comes. How could somebody get intoxicated without taking any intoxication? There is a very nice incident that comes to mind. It's again in Calcutta. The devotees, they went on their regular book distribution event. So they went to one of the houses, and the person was a wealthy businessman. He invited them in and he said, so tell me about your philosophy. And they talked about the 4 regulatory principles, right? And one of them is no intoxication. And the person said, no, that's not possible. You're all intoxicated. Otherwise, at Mayapur temple, when he went, he had only been there once, he said, you cannot dance to the way you are dancing if you are not intoxicated. Yes, we are intoxicated, but without intoxicants, right? Because we are intoxicated by the love of Godhead. We are intoxicated by the Sankirtan. We are intoxicated by the beauty of the Lord. We are intoxicated by the flowers that are in the tulsi that smells, so nice. We are intoxicated by the touch of our fellow Vaishnavas as we are dancing. So yes, we are intoxicated without having taken any intoxication. So sometimes it's very difficult for people to believe, how we dance for hours and hours in a manner that only an intoxicant person could be dancing, right? But it's our love for the Lord that reflects that. So similarly, without taking an intoxication, someone in this particular garden, looking at the beauty, looking at the scenery, all your senses would get mesmerized, suddenly focused, and they will get the pleasure. And that's one of the things that this material world tries to do to you, right? They always try to create this syndrome, like, a fake syndrome, a mirage syndrome of that there's just beauty all around. Your eyes want to see beautiful things. So you can come to, the temple and see the beautiful form of the lordships. Your nose wants to smell beautiful aromas. So you come to the temple and you smell the tulsi leaves and the flowers that have been offered to the Lord. When you want to touch beautiful things, you know, touch your fellow Vaishnavas. You have a question, Prabhu? Yes. This is in one of the heavenly planets. Yes. One of the gigantic heavenly planet. Shweta Dvipa. Yes, that's on the Dhruva planet, the North Star, as we call it. And Shweta Dvipa is also a mountain of, ocean of milk. That's why. And yeah, this is part of the material. Shweta Dvipa, however, since Lord Vishnu himself resides there, it is part of the, in material world, part of the spiritual world. So there's a difference. And here, this one is easily accessible because Varudev and all the other denizens of heavens, they are easily accessing it and loitering there. Means again, if you look at the description in Srimad Bhagavatam, it said that in the caves you would find many denizens enjoying themselves. Now, at Shweta Dvipa, I don't think people would dare to engage in sense gratification because they would be very conscious of the presence of the Lord. And of course, Dhruv Maharaj, he is the ruler of the North Star. So again, that way also when you look at it, it's very interesting how, So this is, it's not been described which particular planet or where it is, but it has been identified that this, and he's describing with respect to Gajendra because when Hari's description came in the previous chapter, Shukdev Goswami said, Hari is an incarnation of Lord who appeared as son of Hari Medha, and his mother's name was Harini. And he saved Gajendra, the king of the elephants, from a crocodile and liberated him. So right then and there, Parikshit Maharaj became curious because he wants to hear more about the Lord. So he says, okay, tell me more about this incident, how Gajendra was saved. Now when you tell the final incident, you have to give the background as well. So this is where the background is coming. Trikuta mountain, Ritumata garden, the pond, the golden lotus, and so forth. Is that okay? So we can proceed. Yes. That's the nature of material energy, Prabhu. Means this is all arranged by the material energy. She is serving very nicely. Again, demigods, they also engage in eat, sleep, mate, defend, just have better facilities. They have 1,000 times better facilities than what we have. And similarly, animals, they have 1,000 times more, stronger body or more active senses, but they are also still based on instincts. So animal kingdom is by instinct, human by fear, and demigods by enjoyment. So we are all tormented by this material energy. Just the form of that tormentation changes. Yes, Prabhu, you wanted to? Yes. Yes. Shweta Dvipa. Yes. 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 Right. Yes. And he just prays to the Lord, and Lord reveals in his heart the message. And then Brahma propagates that message to all the demigods and everyone else. So that's one way of looking at it. And there is another story from the Puranas where Amrish Maharaj's brother, he was allowed to enter, and the Lord smiled. Again, maybe on another time. But have you heard of this one or not? Okay, let's just take 2 minutes to cover. This is a very beautiful story. Amrish Maharaj, he was constantly engaged in all 9 processes of devotion service. But his brother was a karmi. He was a king, but at the same time he was only engaged in sense gratification. Now, as we understand, a brother who's a Vaishnava would be worried about his sibling brother, right? So he requested Narad Muni, please go and instruct my brother, make him a devotee somehow. Take him to the shelter of the Lord. So Devashi Narad said, okay, I'll try. So Devashi Narad, he went to the palace of Amrish Maharaj's brother. And the moment he heard Narayan, Narayan, and that Devasina had come, he said, go away, first thing. Because he's so much into sense enjoyment, he's like, go away, I don't want to hear you. And Devasina was still felt like he had promised Amrish Maharaj, so he made a further attempt. And he said, I want to talk to you. He's like, go away. Now he became angry. Because when you don't want to someone, the person is talking to you, your anger, arises because you're not getting a desire. So Devasina Narad further wanted to make the attempt, ignoring him. And then he picked up his club and ran after Devasina Narad. Now when Devasina Narad sees someone running with a club after him, he knows what's going to happen. The person is in anger. Now he's trying to take out his anger. So he runs. And Amrish Maharaj's brother runs right after Devasina Narad. And then he gets tired. So Devasina Narad says, okay, I have a moment to converse while he is catching up his breath. And he says, when you go to Yamloka, just ask one question, that what is the benefit one obtains from association, a momentary association with a devotee, love matra sadhu sangha. What is the benefit you get? He's like, okay, you just go away. He's like, I'm going away. And he leaves. So as time passes, Amrish Maharaj's brother, he dies. And he's taken to where? Yamloka, right? So Yamdutas, they come, take him to Yamlok. And out there, Chitragupta, he's looking at this huge list of all the abominable things he had done and the sense gratification that he was engaged in. He's like, but then there is something there. So he says, okay, because of some good you did once, you can ask, So he says, he suddenly remembers. Now it is by Lord's mercy that he remembers. He says, what is the benefit one get from a momentary association with a pure devotee? Love matra sadhu sangha. What is the benefit? And then Chitragupta looks at Yamraj, and Yamraj is like, I don't know. So maybe we'll have to go and ask a higher authority. What's the benefit one receives? They approach Indra, then Lord Brahma, everyone is going together because everyone wants to know, right? If you don't know answer of a question and you're going to ask Prabhu, so you're taking me, so you're accompanying me, right? But then if Prabhu also doesn't know and he approaches a higher authority, then he would also accompany, right? The group. So as they're going, we go to Lord Shiva. And Lord Shiva says, even I don't know. Now this is a time to go to Shvetadvipa. So they take Amrish Maharaj's brother, with all the demigods are curious, Lord Brahma is curious, Lord Shiva is curious, and they say, okay, go and ask your question. So Amrish Maharaj's brother, he goes into the Shvetadvipa to ask that question. And Lord Vishnu looks at him and smiles. And then he reveals that even if I want, I cannot get you out of this place now. Then you have entered. So that is the benefit of love matra sadhu sangha, sarva siddhi. So he goes back to the spiritual world just because of that momentary association. So this is very nice to realize that Lord is so merciful that just by having a little association with a devotee, he grants you liberation. So coming back to the current scenario where at Ritumat, this lake, one day, Gajendra, along with his associates, his friends, other elephants, his wife, his children, he comes to the lake and he enters the lake and he starts picking up water, in his trunk and splashing it on his wife, on his children, getting wonderful, joy of seeing how they are, feeling, and it's beautiful weather, perfect temperature, perfect scenery, everything is just perfect. And Gajendra is doing that. What has happened is he has disturbed the aquatics in the lake at the same time. He's a giant elephant. What can you imagine? So it so happens as those aquatics, the aquatic life is disturbed, there was a powerful crocodile. And this crocodile does not like, his domain to be disturbed. This is his comfort zone. Suddenly someone has entered his comfort zone. So he goes and captures Gajendra's leg. And now Gajendra's, one of his forelimbs, is caught by the crocodile. And he's trying to release himself. So this is in the 30th verse where it comes up that as he is trying, and there is a battle is ensuing between the crocodile and Gajendra. Now, Gajendra has huge tusks. He's got huge body, And elephants means again their sense gratification is through skin, right? Touch. And that's how he was enjoying with his wives and children. And all of a sudden, everyone rushed out as soon as his leg was caught by the crocodile. And before that, he was doing extraneous effort. He was laboring very hard. So that's into the category of busy fools. He was laboring very hard, but deriving enjoyment by splashing water on his family, his wives and children. And that's where, it's, he gets caught by the crocodile. And now he is under some kind of distress, right? So there are three kinds of miseries. What are those three kinds of miseries? Adi Bhautika, Adhyatmika, and Adi Daivika. So Adi Bhautika is the one that comes from other living entities. Adhyatmika is born of one's own mind, distresses. And then the third one is, Adi Daivika, by the demigods, which is in the form of natural disasters, tsunami, drought, and so forth, flood. So here, which one is it? Which kind of misery is he inflicted with? Adi Bhautika, right? So it's very interesting that, I was doing some more analysis. Even Adhyatmika is very interesting. If Adi Bhautika, you seek solution. So he's struggling. He's not asking why it happened. When a mosquito bites you and get fever, you don't go to find which mosquito bit me. You go to the doctor. You want to deal with it, right? So he's intelligent that he's dealing with it. He's not thinking why it happened, because that's not the solution, right? Now, this is the problem at hand. So similarly, sometimes when people have Adhyatmika, right? Say, for example, they didn't do well in an exam, they failed, right? What happens? They make it, Hare Krishna, Shishi Gauratai ki jai. Shishi Radha Madan Mohan ki jai. Shishi Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki jai. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Anant Kauri Vaishnavind ki jai. So people, they start either pick up a bag of chips or a bowl of popcorn or a half-gallon bucket of ice cream, they start gobbling it, right? So from mental, it goes to physical, right? And when that physical is driven by the dental satisfaction, the taste. Sometimes people do that, right? So in reality, when you are inflicted, don't go for this materialistic solution. It doesn't help you. Rather, take prasad if you have to eat something, because that's transcendental. It transcends that dental experience, so that you can really get that peace, really get that satisfaction at heart, and understand the situation to deal with it. And, ignore what happened, but continue to move forward in your journey. And not get bogged down in your, because of failure that you think is a failure. It's just actually, interestingly, people what they consider failure is just a way that didn't work. Thomas Edison, how many times did he try to make the 3,000? Somewhere I read 10,000. 3,000. So there were 2,999 times it didn't work. It's not that he failed, because finally on the 3,000th attempt or so, he was able to make it, and it worked. So success is, sometimes deceiving. And also at the same time, you should be driven by the principles and values and not by the results. That's more important. Sometimes we get driven by results, and even that happens to the best of the beings out there, very great personalities like Vishwamitra and many others. They become inflicted by what has happened. So again, they are teaching us lessons. So in this particular case, Gajendra is also teaching us lesson. That when you go in the water, you don't measure the depth of a pond or a water body with your 2 feet. You get it? 2 feet. And the depth, in case of Gajendra, is 4 feet. Anyway, so in the purport, Srila Prabhupada explains that this crocodile is like Maya, which is constantly inflicting one or other kind of misery on the living entities who are in the conditioned life. So that is our case, where as living entities, when we are in this material world, we are conditioned by Maya. And over a period of time, what happens? For 1,000 years, this is celestial years, they are having this fight. And what happens? Gajendra starts to become weak because he is in the foreign element. While the crocodile gets more and more strong because it gets stronger because it's in its own element. It's getting all the nourishment, while Gajendra hasn't had a chance to eat anything, to have any kind of nourishment. And it's in a foreign land, so that's our state. We living entities are in this material world, surrounded by material energy. When she is surrounded, she has so many things supporting her. Not just the senses, the sense objects, the whole subtle elements, everything is working in her favor. And Srila Prabhupada said that we have declared a war, a battle against Maya in this Krishna consciousness movement. So we have to always be very strong, keep ourselves healthy. And that's where we come to the point where we are discussing the different types of cars. So again, on the road, you would see, we put them in 4 categories last week. So again, bringing back those 4 categories, there are some cars, when people buy cars, they're just crazily driving it. They're going for, all kind of derbies, they're going for all kind of races. They just want to enjoy their ride. And they're putting all kind of gadgets in their car, nitrogen oxide and whatnot. They're decorating the car outside, inside, whatnot. That's the category of busy fools. They really don't know what they're doing. At the same time, many of them, these busy fools, they're actually very intelligent busy fools. Like, for example, think of scientists who travel hours every day, going to work and coming back, not knowing that because they are in a terrain which is not controlled by them, they can be part of an accident any time of the day, anywhere. Something could happen. But still, for that little money, they're going this great distance and then coming back. They're putting their precious life in danger for little money. Is that intelligence? No, that's foolishness. But then people do that. It's amazing. So, and Lord Krishna tells us what are these 4 different categories of busy fools. And actually there are some lazy fools who want to go out, but then they only go out if there is a need, but then still they go out, without paying attention. That what are they doing, taking such journeys in their life? They deny. And Lord Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita 7:15, Namam durshkitino mudha prapadyante naradhava maya pradgyana asuram bhavam ashritaha. So there are 4 kinds of dushkrita. What are those? Namam dushkrito mudhas. Mudhas are like asses. And Srila Prabhupada gives a beautiful example of how asses behave. They take on heavy labor just for a little bit of grass that they can easily find on the ground. But they undergo, so much burden they have to carry for their masters. Their sleep is in fear that they will get beaten by their master at any moment. Because one of the things is anytime they try to say something intelligent, all that comes out is braying. Right? So they are constantly under that danger. And when they want to indulge in sexes, they are heavily inflicted with pain by the opposite sex. The female ass kicks them when they are trying to have. So this is mudhas. These are fools, rascals, Srila Prabhupada used to say. I'm just repeating. And then Naradhama, the most fallen of all living mankind. How has they fallen? Because they have lost that purpose of life. They are never inquiring about that. They have lost their direction. Then Maya Prat. So there are some people who are very intelligent. They have been endowed with great qualities, but then Maya has taken away their intelligence. So they have qualities, but they cannot use the intelligence to properly engage it. That's why they are fools. And similarly, Asuram Bhavam. These are atheists who actually act against the injunction of the scriptures. So these are 4 kinds of people. Now there are 4 kinds of people who are devoted to the Lord as well. They are pious. And they could very well be in the beginning engaged as busy fools as well as lazy fools. And they are Chaturvidha Bhajante Mam Jana Sukritana Arjuna, people who are pious, Sukriti. Artho Jigyasi Arthati Gyanishcha Bhartashava. Artho. One who is materially distressed. And then Jigyasu, one who is inquisitive, who wants to know, who am I, what's the purpose of this life? Arthati is one who is looking for something, some kind of opulence or name, fame, those qualities. And then Jnana, Jnani, a person who is in knowledge, is approaching, okay, I want to know who Krishna is and how great he is. I want to know about his pastimes and so forth. So these are the 4 kind of people, they take shelter of the Lord. Which category does Gajendra fall into? Distress. So in distress, he is intelligently thinking. He's thinking that I am not powerful enough against this crocodile, I am losing my strength, because when somebody is pulling you, when you are in a fight, you know who's really winning. You are constantly assessing your opponent and your strength. Those are the 2 important, elements. So you assess, okay, that's his strength, this is my strength, okay, I'm losing my strength. And then his friends had tried to pull him, his associates, they had tried to pull him from the back, but they were not successful. So he's thinking, even my friends, even my associates, who are powerful, they are trying to pull me, but they cannot pull me out. What can my wives do? What can my children do? They cannot help me at this time. So the interesting thing is, he's using his intelligence rightly to assess step by step his situation. And every intelligent man knows that there are only 2 ways to have an argument with women. And neither of them work. So he didn't have an argument with his wives, rather he assessed that intelligently and moved forward. And as he is thinking, now by Lord's mercy, Lord Krishna's mercy, because he is pious in this life also, even though he is an elephant, Lord reveals to him something, a prayer, reveals the prayer that he knew in his previous life. And he understands that Supreme Personality of Godhead, he is the Supreme, and I have been put into this situation by providence. And I have to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and even the great personalities, seek his shelter. So he is the shelter of great personalities like Brahma and Shiva. So when he is praying that, he is about to pray. And this is where the chapter ends. So the prayers are in the next chapter. But he is surrendering. That mood of surrender has come into his consciousness. And he is now thinking. So again, it's very interesting. Srila Prabhupada identifies, that, only a pious person, if he was sinful, there is no way he would even remember or think of Krishna. But because he is pious, even as an elephant, Krishna is so merciful. He reminds him of what he was, something from his past, so that he is able to take that step of surrender. And in surrender, there are 6 limbs of surrender. So Sharanagati. Anukulyasya sankalpa pratikulyasya vivarjanam rakshi satiti vishvaso gopatitve varnam tatha atmanikshepa karpane shadvidha Sharanagati. So the 6 limbs of Sharanagati, Always remember Krishna, never forget Krishna. Always think Krishna as your protector. Always continue to serve and understand that he is your maintainer. And stay humble and offer everything to the Lord with mind, body and words. So we have to follow. Gajendra is teaching us here. And so we talked about busy, fools and lazy fools. Then comes the category of busy intelligent. And most of us grihasthas, they fall in this category because we have to maintain our families. We have to still go out and do jobs and so forth, continue to have some economic development. And Srila Prabhupada, he very nicely explained that, grihastha ashram is also a very important ashram. People who cannot just take brahmacharya ashram, who have some inclination towards sex indulgence, for them grihastha ashram is there, so that they have some regulated, sex, while at the same time continue to fight with Maya. To him, it's not the ashram. He's very clearly identifying it's not the ashram that is important. It is that the battle with Maya continues to go on. We should never give up that battle. And sometimes some people become insensitive from other ashrams, and they try to put jokes, or because of their insensitivity, because of their arrogance sometimes, or sometimes it's just because of the causeless, ignorance. They try to offend without realizing it. To establish varnashram dharma, it is very important that all ashrams, they respect other ashrams as well. Sometimes, a person who's a brahmachari, in arrogance, they hear so much about, the person is inflicted by sex. Well, wait a minute, you don't know what your state is. Srila Prabhupada in the purport writes that in Kali age, no one is supposed to be taking sannyas, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu shows us by taking sannyas at an early stage of 24 years of age. And at that time, Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, he actually, warns the Lord that he has taken early, sannyas at an early stage. And then Srila Prabhupada reveals further that we have given sannyas at an early stage to many of the boys who are not even qualified. But then still there is no danger, because if these boys, they have the sex desire, they can take to grihastha ashram. He himself is saying that they are not qualified. And sometimes people, they get into brahmacharya and they get initiated when they are not qualified. But then the purpose is so that they engage in the battle against Maya, to go back home, back to Godhead. So that's the purpose. And when people are engaged in that manner, they should not try to show that their ashram is the best ashram to stay in and all other ashrams are useless. And then try to crack jokes or some things. Go ahead. Yeah. So it's very important for people to be sensitive of others, because otherwise, unknowingly or knowingly, they are committing Vaishnava offense. Vaishnava aparadha is called mad elephant disease, and it can destroy your devotional service in no time. So it's very important not to create such distresses to others. So this is where now comes the point. I was realizing that, now there is busy intelligence, mostly grihasthas, we fall in that category. And hopefully over a period of time, when we can continue to advance, we come to the level of lazy intelligent. And lazy intelligent is where a person is constantly engaged in devotional service. That's the place. And then I just realized that actually there is a fifth category also. Fifth category is the carriages. They really are not cars. That's why we never talked about, when we talk about cars, we never realize. But then I realized that on the road, among the cars, there are various carriages they are moving as well. Someone is carrying the boats in those carriages. Someone is, the 18-wheeler has a big, it's hauling a big carriage behind it. Sometimes there are advertisements. Sometimes there are big, structures are going from one place to another. So these carriages, the only reason we didn't discuss is because they are bekar, right? They are not even car. They're completely useless. So from that particular perspective, we didn't discuss. But then there are also those things moving on the road, which is always dependent on others to carry them from one spot to another and then next spot to another. On their own, they have no capability to move. So this is where, this particular chapter ends, and in the next chapter we'll be discussing the prayers of Gajendra. Hare Krishna. So one of the important lessons to take today is Srila Prabhupada identified that this is how Gajendra is teaching us how to chant. Because when he chants, when he recites his prayers, that's Vandanam, then Lord Hari appears on the spot and immediately relieves him of all the stress. So imagine how much intensity was there in his prayers. So when we are doing japa, we should do with that intensity. Just raise our arms and say, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Ram Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Kanthara Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Anant Kaurya Vaishnava Vrinda ki jai, Go Premanande, Hare Hare Krishna. All glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees, all glories to assembled devotees. Hare Krishna.
Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki Jai. Shri Shri Gauranika ki Jai. Shri Shri Sitaram Lakshman Hanuman ki Jai. Nitai Gaur Premanandi Hari Hari.